What if the world's most powerful military is slowly walking into a trap? A trap not set by a single battle. Not even by a single country. But by geography, economics, and strategy. In recent weeks, tensions between the United States and Iran have escalated dramatically. Air strikes, retaliatory missile attacks, and threats to global oil routes are pushing the Middle East toward one of its most dangerous moments in decades. But here's the real question. Is this just another geopolitical crisis, or is the United States falling into a strategic trap in Iran? Today, we break down the history, the strategy, and the hidden risks behind America's Iran gamble. The rivalry between the United States and Iran did not start yesterday. It goes back more than 4 decades, to the 1979 Iranian Revolution, when Iran transformed from a pro-Western monarchy into an anti-American Islamic republic. Since then, United States used tactics like economic sanctions, proxy wars, nuclear disputes, cyber attacks, and assassinations, which have defined the relationship. In 2025, the United States conducted direct strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, claiming the operation set Iran's nuclear program back by roughly 2 years. Then in early 2026, joint U.S. Israeli operations targeted Iranian military sites in what analysts describe as one of the most significant escalations in the region in years. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks on regional targets and U.S. bases. The conflict was no longer just diplomatic. It was becoming military. To understand the strategic trap, you must understand geography. One narrow waterway sits at the center of the crisis, the Strait of Hormuz. This tiny maritime corridor carries nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. If the strait closes, the global economy could feel the shock instantly. And that's exactly the threat Iran has repeatedly made. Recent clashes in the region have already disrupted shipping and caused oil prices to surge worldwide. Iran's strategy here is simple but powerful. If the United States attacks Iran, Tehran can retaliate by threatening the global energy system. In other words, Iran doesn't need to defeat America militarily. It just needs to make the conflict too costly for the world. Many analysts believe Iran's real strategy is not conventional war. It's asymmetric warfare. Instead of confronting the United States directly, Iran relies on proxy militias, missile forces, naval mines, drone attacks, and regional allies. This strategy spreads the battlefield across the entire Middle East. For example, Iran has previously launched missile attacks against U.S. bases in the region and demonstrated its ability to threaten American infrastructure without fighting a traditional war. And in the current crisis, Iran has already launched retaliatory strikes across the Gulf region, including attacks affecting Qatar. The goal is not immediate victory. The goal is attrition, slowly draining America's political and economic will to fight. Why Iran is hard to defeat? Unlike Iraq in 2003 or Afghanistan in 2001, Iran presents a far more complex challenge. First, geography. Iran has an enormous, mountainous terrain, large population, and strategic depth. Second, military capabilities. Iran has one of the largest missile arsenals in the Middle East and has invested heavily in drones and unconventional warfare. Third, regional influence. Iran has allies or proxy forces across the Middle East, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. Any conflict with Iran could quickly become a regional war. And that is exactly the scenario U.S. strategists fear most. The economic shockwave. War with Iran is not just a military issue. It is an economic shockwave. When tensions escalate, oil prices spike, global markets fall, shipping routes become unsafe, and inflation rises worldwide. Recent disruptions linked to the Iran conflict pushed oil prices above $110 per barrel within days. That means a conflict in the Persian Gulf could affect fuel prices, food costs, and economic stability across the entire world. In other words, the battlefield might be in the Middle East. But the consequences are global. The crisis is also about something much bigger: global power competition. If the United States becomes deeply entangled in another Middle Eastern conflict, other major powers could benefit. China and Russia have both strengthened ties with Iran in recent years. For them, a prolonged U.S. military commitment in the Middle East could weaken American focus elsewhere, especially in Asia. This is why many analysts say the real question is not simply whether the U.S. can defeat Iran. The question is whether the conflict drains American power over time. So is America walking into a strategic trap? The answer is not simple. The United States still possesses overwhelming military superiority. But wars are rarely decided by firepower alone. History shows that even superpowers struggle against geography, asymmetric tactics, and prolonged conflict. Iran understands this. And that may be why its strategy is not to win quickly. Because sometimes in geopolitics, victory does not belong to the strongest army. It belongs to the side that can endure the longest.